Guys, welcome back. Week 8 NFL picks. We're going to break down each and every game. I'll give you guys my best bets in terms of props, where I'm at. We'll look at some of the numbers and metrics along the way as well and get you guys on your way before this kickoff here at 1 o'clock. So no London games. Awesome. Get to sleep in a little bit more research before we get into this heavy-hitting slate that we have going on in the NFL. I'm going to break it all down for you guys, but if you're new to the channel, this is a perfect time for you guys all to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Just to clarify things, it's not a subscription you have to pay. Yes, I do have that. If you want to give back to the channel, become a channel member for $9.99 a month. It's just a way to give thanks. Down below, link in the description. It does give me priority to you as well, and that's kind of how I differentiate. But also, if you do consider subscribing to the channel, just remember it's totally free to do so. It's more of a follow. So I think a lot of people get confused here on YouTube because I have the same people watch my videos, and I can see here on the back end about 80% of the people are the same people, and only 50% of them are subscribed. So there's a lot of people out there that have not done so, and that's all right. But let's get into it. We're going to get you guys on board eventually, and we're looking to that first game between the Eagles and the Bengals. Let's continue this run. We've been on a pretty good stretch within at least the college football ranks yesterday and what we've been doing here in baseball. Let's keep cashing tickets, and this is the first game that we're going to do so as we look into the Eagles here. I'm a fan of the +3. If you can find the hook out there and take some modest juice, I do feel like the Eagles are the right side. T. Higgins on the injury report, and Jamar Chase becomes a lot more guardable if he is the one-dimensional unit there for that Bengals passing attack. But for me, guys, I do look at the Bengals and kind of what they're able to do defensively. This is kind of going to be a good spot for Saquon Barkley. So my best bet for this game is 78.5. We are going to pull up kind of outlier here. This is my platform that I use to share with you guys what's going on. And this is the best way to do so. And I'm going to share with you kind of how we're looking at and what we get into game by game as I give you guys my prop. Usually it's some premium content, but we are going to look into the rushing here for Saquon Barkley. If you want to see it right here, over 69.5 minus 137. That is the best number you can find out there. If you want to get into that, that number has risen a little bit. We're seeing 165 on DK, 70.5. So this is a fluctuating total. For me, guys, though, if you want to find that at 165, that's a pretty strong bet. Cashing over 60% of the time. I know it's a more of a parlay builder because it is something that is 8 yards short and shy, so you're paying for that extra juice, but gives you a little bit more of a cushion at 70.5 versus 78.5. And just food for thought, I'll pull up kind of the last games. Look at these numbers just exploding off the charts. Cleveland, a stout run defense, filled, and then we look at kind of every other game this season, he has eclipsed us. So disregard these 4 games last year because that was when he was a member of of the Giants. But this is something where Saquon, except for the game against the Browns, where if you want to talk about kind of a different game script in a Cleveland spot, I think this is where another AFC North foe, but I do think that Saquon gets right. And all he needs to do is bust one and then have his normal allotment for the rest of the game. But that's kind of what I'm getting at, guys. It's pretty self-explanatory. With taking out the Giants' performances, this is 80% and is and even more than that in his last 6 games. So I'm all over Saquon over his rushing total. Okay, on the card. All right, so let's get back into the games. I won't actually play the side, but if you do want to tease up the Philadelphia Eagles, that would be how I would attack that over 6 points. Then you do get it over those key numbers at +8.5. Texans, Colts. This is no play for me on the side. Houston laying the 5 is kind of a big number for me. Can't get down with that. This is going to be one where the total was right on par with what they had last matchup that we had in Indianapolis. And in this game, though, guys, I do think it's going to be a Joe Mixon game script. He's going to be anytime touchdown for me. And my best bet for this game is another prop. We're going to go back to it, over 17.5 rushing carries for Joe Mixon. That's one where he eclipsed that in week 1 very easily. Over 100 yards rushing and I think close to 30 carries. So definitely think they're going to go back to Mixon. Bet you the Bengals wish they had them or had Joe, but he's going to be utilized as well as Jonathan Taylor, who looks to be returning to fold to help out Anthony Richardson and company. So Texans, Colts, best bet is the Joe Mixon over rushing attempts. Next game is going to be a fun one here. Green Bay and Jacksonville. We do get a Jordan Love team where we are going to have a bet on the side as well as the team total as well as in the prop market. Okay. For me, this comes down to it. Green Bay laying 4 on the road. We're seeing a reverse bet split where we do get 33% of the handle on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Jacksonville Jaguars have been kind of flashy a little bit. We're going to look into kind of some of their past performances here as we look into kind of this narrative within Jacksonville that, they had some primetime TV games where they just absolutely laid an egg and looked bad. Okay. And that's okay. I'm not going to be mad at them for doing so, but it's just something where it does rub off on the public betting world. And I think that's kind of where you're seeing a lot of steam on a beloved Green Bay team. They're always loved, even when they had some villains on their squad, but everybody loves a good old Packers squad. But if we look at Jacksonville, beating New England, losing to Chicago pretty badly, mind you, barely beating Indianapolis, and then losing to Houston and then getting blown out by Buffalo. You talk about that week 1 loss to Miami. Okay. So what Doug Peterson is doing down there in Jacksonville, they're at home 2-5 versus a 5-2. I just think that this is a good spot. If you do want to back a anytime touchdown scorer, we do think, Tank Bigsby, again, in the touchdown market. That's been one of my stronger plays. That is a touchdown scorer bet for me. I also do like the Packers -4. So we're going to be on the side of the public. You can find a juiced up 3.5. But I like that. I like the Jordan Love, and this is probably my best bet of the game outside of Tank Bigsby. But we're going to go into the player props here, and we're going to go passing, and we're going to get into that Jordan Love passing touchdowns. Over 2.5 passing touchdowns for the Jordan Love prop arena. We're going to get into that and look at his numbers here, and we're going to date back until the last 5 games is what we want to look at for him, because the other 5 was in a different kind of format. But we hit 2-4, 2-4, and 3 respectively. So cashing 60% of the time in the last 5 games. And the ones that did not cash fell directly on 2. So I feel like at plus 185, whatever you can find at 182 on FanDuel, this is one of my best bets of the day in terms of value. So half unit play here on Jordan Love at plus 182. And that's how I do it, right? This is, you could call it a flyer, a long shot, whatever you want to call it. For me, I just consider it a very strong value play. And when I find these value plays, I do try to keep my unit size in half, because that way it allows me to play 2 and really kind of allows me to miss 1 or 2 along the way without actually losing any money. So that's kind of where I'm at. I will be taking Jordan Love over 2.5. Rushing touchdowns, Tank Bigsby, anytime touchdown, Green Bay -4, as well as the Green Bay team total, Packers over 25.5. That means that Jordan Love gets his 3 touchdowns, and we get 2 field goals along the way. So that is a -135 price, but I do like the Green Bay Packers over 25.5 team total. So pretty much a same game parlay I just made for you guys in that Green Bay Jacksonville spot. Jets Patriots, that's another game where we do have a rematch of an earlier on contest, but this is where we do get Drake May entering the fold. Very more aggressive in the way he plays football, runs the football with some force, and he is kind of a gunslinger. And despite having a 1-6 record, I think this is one where you do get some points. Okay. I think the Jets offense needs to feel like they're getting right. I don't think they're really going to be in the business of giving their running backs, 25 carries with, and trying to establish a run. And I just don't see it that way. Okay. Eventually you have a, Pro Bowl talent running into a brick wall is not a profitable way to do business. And I think that's kind of what can go on in this game if they do try to ride Breece Hall. His receptions are up. That's fine, catching balls out of the backfield. But I just think they're not going to try to beat a dead horse. I think that New England is not going to be able to cover both Devontae Adams as well as Garrett Wilson. So for me, guys, this is pretty self-explanatory. You just pick a receiver and go, right? It's either going to be a Wilson game, a Devontae Adams game, but I do think this is a game where we do get points. And in this, I do like the fact that we're going to go over in the New England Jets game. We're going to take that over right now, 41.5. Funny how that's plus 100. That number kind of scares me away from it. But if you can get that half point, get that hook out of the way, take a 41 at a -125, even -120 price. that'd be kind of where I'm at in this matchup. So for me, it's going to be over. I think the Patriots get 14-17, and we just need the Jets to do their part as well. So over Jets and the Patriots. I think that the Drake May side of this offense is going to be a little bit more explosive. Conversely to that first matchup that we saw where the New England Patriots got defeated 24-3. So Jets, we're going over 41 as a best bet. Okay. And that's kind of where we're going to get into that next game between Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's crippled, and this is not kind of a shot at, Baker Mayfield or anything that we have going on in there or the Falcons, but it's kind of a spot where I'm staying away from. Okay. I think that they're going to be able to scrap. This game is one where we're going to get a shit ton of points or no points at all. And 45.5 is that total that I think is very fair. We're seeing kind of a market. The market doesn't really know what to do with this game. And quite frankly, neither do I. Touchdown markets, we can look into Drake May. Also, in terms of that, Kate Otten, I think that's kind of where I'm going to be at from a prop perspective. We have Godwin, Evans, not in the fold. Also out of the backfield, the Tampa Bay backfield was looking to be a little bit banged up. And they just kind of did play a hard-fought kind of ass kicking against Baltimore. So that's kind of hard to bounce back. I know these guys are professionals, but they're human beings. And it's really hard, I think, sometimes to come back, especially on a short week. That was the Monday Night Football game. In rebound, just your body physically. Okay. That is a thing. And so for this spot, we're going to go and dive into kind of a interesting way of betting it. Cade Otten, we're just going to attack Cade Otten. I think he gets a lot of volume, a lot of work. So Cade Otten will be Baker's kind of go-to. Whether or not they try to take him out of the game, who knows? But for me, guys, it's going to be Cade Otten. And, if you want to fall in love with that Drake London anytime touchdown, that's how I would attack that game. Okay. Next one out there is Cardinals and Dolphins. Now we do get Tua back into the fold. I don't know why he's still playing football, but I just pray to God every week that he does not forget his name and take one off the chin again. But he did that already this season, and now he's back against the Cardinals, and we have a 46.5 total set, as well as the Miami Dolphins laying 4.5 at home. This is kind of interesting, okay? Definitely a sharper side is on that Cardinals money line. I think this is a big Kyler Murray game. I think he gets it going with his feet. So Kyler Murray has eclipsed the rushing prop over 34.5 quite a bit. I do like Kyler Murray over that number. Also, Troy McBride, outstanding tight end. I think he gets a lot of work. For all accounts, he is kind of Kyler Murray's go-to. They run a lot of design routes for him. One look reads. It's pretty much, a very focal point of this Arizona Cardinals offense is within the likes of Trey McBride. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'm not going to play the side or the total, but I do lean on that Arizona kind of post. Just because of the fact that, Miami's back, but Tua, he hasn't picked up a football or played or taken a hit. And, and now he's coming against an Arizona defense that really got to the quarterback a little bit against the Chargers on Monday. So whether or not the short week plays a role, I do think this is a game where we could see a lot of points if Tua can kind of fulfill his end of the bargain. I think the Kyler Murray-led Cardinals are back. I do look for, like I said, a lot of offense on their end. And the best bet that I can give you outside of the Kyler rushing prop going over, we're going to look at a chain. Okay. I think this is where he's a different running back. And if you look at the game logs, and I can pull that up for you guys, if you bear with me, we're going to pull up some player props. And this one's pretty much just jumping out at the page of me. Okay. So we look at a chain, and I'm going to go rushing and receiving. Okay. It's going to be a little bit more so harder to decipher this because it gets confused and kind of all mixed together with who is doing what. But just for food for thought, okay, this is kind of how we're looking at it. And these were games without Tua Tagovailoa, and then these are games with Tua Tagovailoa. So you can see how the attention really gets out of the backfield, and he has more room to run. So just a play on the numbers, and this is going to be something we look into that last six. So just forget about the 2023 contest, or 2024 was a playoff in January. So forget about the first four on this bar graph. We're going to look at boom, 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 boom. 4 games without Tua, 2 games with the rushing and receiving went over 100 yards. So that is where I'm going at. And the biggest thing is Arizona has a very, very bad defense. So that is going to be one of my best bets, taking a chain over that rushing receiving prop. combination. Okay. So that's it. That's how we're going to get closer to this absolute shit show in Cleveland. Baltimore Ravens are laying 8.5 on the road. Jameis Winston comes into the fold. I don't know if they'll have crab legs in the stadium, but if they do, I'm sure the Cleveland fans and faithful will be well received within that spot. But Jameis, one of the fan favorites, love the kid, except when he did beat Notre Dame in that matchup between Florida State in a controversial ending that kind of prohibited Notre Dame from getting into the championship game that year. But anyways, I digress. Cleveland going to be getting 8.5 points. God have mercy on the Cleveland Browns and the Haslam family. And cheers to a Sunday of dumpster fires here in the great state of Ohio. But we do look at the Baltimore Ravens in this spot. As much as I absolutely would love to bash the Browns and bet against them, this is a way, way sharper side on the Cleveland Browns side of the coin. Okay. Getting 8.5 at home is a very tough task. A defensive game where the total's at 44.5. I'm staying away from this one. Okay. If you do want to kind of throw your money into the ring and have a great shot of winning a bet, Baltimore is that juicy, juicy teaser leg that you're a fool for not taking. And it's just something where I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to do it. They are going to be a dance partner in a 6-point teaser. I know it's bad, not so good to tease teams on the road, but minus 8.5 is something I'll look to get down with. So we will take Baltimore down 8.5, and that's the only way I'm going to attack this game. Okay, other than I might throw my remote at the TV a little bit if the Browns end up losing about like 31-3. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to keep it objective as much as we can. And like I said, guys, you could do chalky stuff. You could bet Henry getting into the end zone. You can bet, Lamar Jackson getting in zone over rushing props. But this is going to be a very weird spot. Cleveland defense way better at home, very tight. And weird stuff can happen. And I'm just telling you, this is close to Halloween. This kind of has my spooky, my Scooby sense on this game. I'm staying away from it. So I will have a little bit of action on the Baltimore. I think it's just something where you get through all the key numbers, taking Baltimore minus 2.5. That's where I'll be at in that conversation. Okay, Tennessee and Detroit next game up. Detroit is laying 11.5. That is a huge number, guys. Can we just be honest with ourselves? I don't care who Tennessee's playing at quarterback. Detroit's going to be able to get it done. How much of this game actually goes late into the fourth quarter? I just think this is something where it's a great teaser leg for Detroit getting through those key numbers. You do get them minus 5.5. So that is going to be something that I do play. Also, David Montgomery did not find the end zone last week. So guess what's going to happen this week? David Montgomery's going to find the end zone. So that's kind of where I'm at. Health was an issue. I don't know if there's going to be a snap count. It was a Gibbs game, getting in the end zone twice. But we do look for Tennessee to be a little bit better stopping the run. I just quite frankly don't care. I think that we do get Detroit and David Montgomery in the end zone. Also, it's just kind of a shitty spot for Tennessee. Okay. But I do like David Montgomery and the Lions as a teaser leg. Next game is the Saints and Chargers. Sharper play is the New Orleans Saints here, +7 against the Chargers. But for me, guys, I can't get down with Spencer Rattler. It's Chargers or nothing for me. Like I said, another great leg of a teaser. But I'm not going to lay the full 7 in an official bet. That's just too big of a number. I know that they're coming off of a loss. They come home and the Saints go west. But it's going to be a game where you get a lot of Kamara. The Saints receivers are back into the fold. It looks like Olave might play, as well as the other receiver. I'm drawing a blank right now. But anyways, it's kind of where you look into this New Orleans game. And I just kind of really like the 7 points here with the Saints if I was going to bet it. Okay. So it's either going to be taking the 7 with Kamara and company. But for me, it's just a horrible spot for the Chargers, kind of in a sense that they just played, like I said, the same argument with the Buccaneers. They're banged up. Joey Bosa looks to be coming back. It looks like he will suit up. But, we get a lot of questionable tags, not necessarily people out of this game, just a lot of Q tags that do give me pause. So for me, guys, it's going to be Saints +7 or no bet for me at all. Okay, that's just kind of where I'm at. Bills, Seattle. I do like this game in the sense of Seattle is going to be probably not having DK Metcalf. So one of my best bets. It's a little fishy, a little chalky, but a juiced up Bills -2.5 on the road. Kenneth Walker, I guarantee you he probably gets in the end zone. Love for his props. And they're begging you to take the Buffalo Bills. You're laying a small number on the road going against a tattered Seattle team. But for me, guys, it's a Bills play, 5-2. Let's go 6-2. And this isn't only a kind of play on the Bills; it's a play against the Seahawks, right? Seattle has been abysmal. Looking at kind of some spots where they just didn't deliver. And yes, last week against the Atlanta Falcons, the team that everybody took over 10.5 wins. Okay, winning 34-14 on the road. I'm just not buying it. They go home after a big win as underdogs. It's just a whole different matchup. I think Buffalo is able to control a lot of the line of scrimmage in this game. So I do like the Bills here quite a bit. Bills -3, -2.5 is the number I took. That will be my best bet that I'm laying here in this game. Okay. And also James Cook is back and he will be back and running. So I do like depending or not, if we get some explosive plays, I do think they keep this game on the ground game, and I think it's a lower score than you might allude to. So Bills Seahawks 4:05, starting off that afternoon window within that, and the Saints game, I will be on the Bills -3. All right, another teaser leg that you're kind of remiss of not taking is the Chiefs and Raiders. All right, will Travis Kelce ever get into the end zone? I don't know. I thought it would happen by now, but I do like the Chiefs here quite a bit because this is one where, if you remember kind of the backstory of this game, Antonio Pierce, there was a lot of smack talking from the Raiders, and now they're getting 9.5. That's a crap ton of points. Okay, and the Chiefs are not a team that they are a good team against the spread, but when you do get a low total at 41 and you get a 10-point spread, gives you some pause. But Steve Spagnuolo's defense, I trust them more than anyone in the NFL right now. It's one unit that it could be ugly, but they do deliver. I think that you look at the number, and it's very hard not to add the Chiefs in a teaser as well. So Kansas City will be on that. I do think that with the adding of DeAndre Hopkins, that's going to be very interesting to watch this unfold. And I do think that there is a little bit of a backstory here where the Chiefs might lay it on them a little bit. So this could be a game where we get a little bit later on and it ends up being like a touchdown lead. And then all of a sudden, boom, little bit of a stepping on the gas pedal. So I think there's a lot to be said within how the Chiefs have responded to that Christmas loss where, they kind of mocked Patrick Mahomes. And I think that, you got to trust this team, fire up, wearing the Kelce jerseys after he had the scrutiny with Taylor Swift during pre-game. I mean, this is a very close-knit bunch, guys. This isn't like the team that won't be around next year. These guys have been through the wire, Super Bowls. They've been through hell together. And I think they got Mahomes back. I'm just calling it right here. Don't be surprised if he has his best game of the season, and then they just kind of put it on cruise control. Props, I like Kareem Hunt. Get him in the end zone. It's pretty much money every single game as of recent. So I'm not going to bet the Kelce. I don't want to bet the Kelce one until he actually does it. So that in terms of props, I do like Bowers for Vegas, taking him over. I think he gets 60 reception yards as well as Kareem Hunt. We're going to take him to get into the end zone at -140 as the market looked to catch up with that number. Bears Commanders, no bet for me other than Brian Robinson, anytime touchdown. I'll look into. I think the side to be on is Chicago. However, we are seeing this number come down because of the Jaden Daniels news, which he looks like he will be all systems go. So we're going to get that little flex spot here where we get Rookie of the Year on Rookie of the Year. And I think this is where if you do like the Bears, I would wait for the public to just dive in on Jaden Daniels. And if you do like the Commanders, make sure you take it now before this game gets closer to a pick 'em. And we do see a little bit more so of the money on the Commanders. I think the Bears may be the side to be on. I don't trust their defense, quite frankly. And if you do want to kind of get into a situation where you want to take a rookie quarterback with a lot of injury concern in a spot where they're going to be playing a very stiff defense, I just don't like it. So for me, it's going to be something where even if you do get Marcus Mariota for the Commanders, how much of an impact is that going to be? So I do like the Commanders. I think Chicago's the right side to be on, but I don't really like it at this spot. So it will be Chicago money line -110. or you can wait wait a little bit later and possibly even go the other way due to the Jaden Daniels news. But once again, Washington is a great teaser combo. You get a home underdog up through the key numbers, taking them plus 7.5 right now if you want to add Washington into a teaser. Okay. Carolina, Denver, another kind of disaster we have. This is where you have 11 points almost. At one point, it was, I think, 11.5 for the Carolina Panthers that they were getting on the road playing at Denver. We see the Denver Broncos here, totals at 41.5. Bo Nix looks to go crazy in this game. Bryce Young is back. They're going to try that kind of circus again, and they're going to try it without the likes of Adam Thielen and Deontay Johnson for Carolina. So the 1-6 Panthers look to be all accounts. They look to be 1-7. They're horrible against the run. Denver does kind of a three-headed monster. So I'm not going to attack that in terms of props. But I do think this is something where you do get a Carolina Panthers club that it's just something where this could be really, really bad. But I can't get down with the 10.5. So in a teaser, I mean, you're getting 17 points on the road. Bryce Young's going to be motivated. I just don't know if he has it, quite frankly. So it's kind of interesting. But 10.5 may look like a big number now, but in about 8 hours, probably not. And that's kind of how I feel about it. It's a stay away game for me. There are a couple things that I do like in the prop market, but I'm going to kind of stay away from that in terms of a best bet. Okay. Next game is Dallas and San Francisco. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in that dedicated video because that is the primetime Sunday night football matchup. It's going to be all systems go. But I just want to share with you guys because if you're incorporating any parlays or anything with these earlier games, this is something that Joey touched on. Remember Kittle in his last kind of spots against the Cowboys, hates the Cowboys. So Kittle, anytime touchdown. He doesn't really get a lot of receptions. He had 4 grabs, but with Debo out, with Juwan Jennings out, with McCaffrey out, it adds a dynamic where Kittle might have to be that 9 or 10 target tight end in this matchup. So that's kind of where I'm at. I do see a lot of points, and I do like the Kittle touchdown prop as well. Just a little bit of a segue a little teaser before we get into that Sunday Night Football video that we'll have up a little bit shortly. So just a quick recap. I know I don't put the picks on the screen, but I will tell you guys, and for those of you that did listen, appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. But we're going to go New England over the 41, the 49ers over in the Sunday night game at 47. At 47, Bills -3, and the Packers team total. And if you guys did listen, I have all of my props kind of sprinkled within the video. So for you guys that are into the prop betting, that is kind of the way to get them for now. So we are going to share with you guys a little bit more on Discord. Make sure you hop on over there. It's totally free. Give me a follow on X. The handle's in the bottom left of your screen. But I thank you guys all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers. Good luck with your picks.